Once upon a time, in a faraway land, lived two young men, much like many young men you may know today. The two brothers were likable, but undisciplined, with a wild streak in them. Their mischievous behavior turned serious when they began stealing sheep from the local farmers, a serious crime in this pastoral place, so long ago and far away. In time, the thieves were caught. The local farmers decided their fate. The two brothers would be branded on the forehead with the letters ST for sheep thief. This sign they would carry with them forevermore. One brother was so embarrassed by this branding that he ran away. He was never heard from again. The other brother, filled with remorse and reconciled to his fate, chose to stay and tried to make amends to the villagers he had wronged. At first, the villagers were skeptical and would have nothing to do with him. But this brother was determined to make reparation for his offenses. Whenever there was a sickness, the sheep thief came to care for the ill with soup and a soft touch. Whenever there was work needing to be done, the sheep thief came to help with a lending hand. It made no difference if the person were rich or poor. The sheep thief was there to help. Never accepting pay for his good deeds, he lived his life largely for others. Many years later, a traveler came through the village. Sitting at a sidewalk cafe eating lunch, the traveler saw an old man with a strange brand on his forehead seated nearby. The stranger noticed that all the villagers who passed the old man stopped to share a kind word, to pay their respects. Children stopped their play to give and receive a warm hug. Curious, the stranger asked the cafe owner, "What does that strange brand on the old man's forehead stand for? ST. "I don't know. It happened so long ago," the cafe owner replied. Then, pausing briefly for a moment of reflection, he continued, "But I think it stands for saint." Sheep thief. I really like the story. It's truly heartwarming, uplifting, a tale of redemption. It speaks to us of the essence of the Christian gospel. And this story of the two brothers can be applied comfortably to Peter and Judas, as read moments earlier. A further application can be to you and me. The people of the village were justifiably outraged by the behavior of the two brothers. Sheep were likely the livelihood of most of that town's farmers. The brothers were young, and youth can be foolish. But their offenses were very, very serious. The branding punishment, it would be applauded by a considerable segment of any society. Conservative law and order types convinced of a pessimistic, cynical, bleak view of human nature will celebrate the village's retribution as giving the brothers what they had come, what they deserved. These villagers made a mistake, a very serious mistake. Their branding was permanent, irreversible. But the character of the brother who stayed was not fixed and everlasting. His true character had yet to reveal itself. That positive, genuine identity was on display at the Sidewalk Cafe as the townspeople stopped at his table to pay their respects and express affection. The branding error was corrected only as thief was finally understood to be saint. So we are uplifted and inspired as we picture that sidewalk scene and what it means. Triumph and tragedy, Peter and Judas. Both had been in Christ's inner circle for some 3 years. He had taught them of grace, forgiveness, and redemption. Beyond any and all instruction, he had demonstrated, lived, acted out multiple mercies. His was a graduate school in grace. But now they both had hit bottom. Ungrateful, cowardly, traitorous, soaked in shame, the two of them. They were both understandably and mightily moved to hate themselves, to despise their lives. Their great guilt crushed them. They had witnessed so much forgiveness and salvation offered and accepted by so many. And they saw it up close and personal in a way no others in history had seen it before or since. Now it was their turn. Their time had come to take, to accept. The sheep thief was branded by others. Judgment on Judas, pronouncement of sentence on Peter, would be decided by themselves alone. Now comes the test of Christ's teaching and tenderness. Peter wept bitterly, but trusted in the forgiveness and grace of Jesus. And Christ offered him an opportunity to affirm his love 3 times, to erase his 3 denials. Peter allowed affection to penetrate, redemption to recover, forgiveness to flower in the deepest depths of his heart. Judas went out and hung himself. So we have the sheep thief who stayed home and came to terms with himself. We have Peter, who was able to bear the unbearable, the bitterness of his cowardice and utter unfaithfulness, but survived to lead the early church as its chief apostle. So too we have the sheep thief who could not bear his shame and left his hometown for good and forever. And Judas Iscariot, who simply could not abide his treacherous behavior and could only choose to destroy himself. What of ourselves, you and me? Our reputations are largely intact. I've done and said a few things I'd like to take back, but most of it, all of it, I guess, was well south of here, and you're not apt to learn of that. Who knows what's in your background, but I doubt anything too serious. But it is likely that the drama of the two sheep-stealing brothers does play out within our own hearts and minds, where no one else can see it. Is there really anyone else that is as tough on us as we are? If we were as impatient and critical with others as we often are with ourselves, we might not have a friend in the world. We are at times emotionally safer with others than with ourselves. If we could face up to more of our own insensitivity to self, our cold and hard-heartedness with ourselves, then we could truly embrace our need of grace and personal peace. Psalm 34 wisely counsels us, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." May we more and more develop an insatiable appetite, a holy hunger